Well, good morning. I'm going to go over some news over the last 24 hours. This story is alarming. There are ICE agents going into hospitals, healthcare centers in Minnesota. Minneapolis hospitals are sounding the alarm after reports and evidence that ICE are now attacking migrants in hospitals. Apparently, absolutely nothing and nowhere is off limits. So I'm going to play this video of a nurse who is telling the board, city council maybe, she's sounding the alarm about what she's seeing.
I don't feel safe at home. I don't feel safe at work. Kids aren't safe at school. I was born in Minneapolis and I'm scared out of my mind because I have skin that is not white, and that is not fair. I am a nurse. There's a public health emergency because nurses aren't showing up to work, because we're freaked out. Because when we advocate for our Black and brown patients, what happens when ICE comes into our hospitals? We are making plans on what we are going to do because we are in ethical dilemmas on what is the right thing to do.
Greatest country in the world, and we have to fear guns in schools, and we have to now fear guns in our hospitals.
What happens when they start pulling people out of ICUs when life is not sustainable? Outside of the hospital, where is our moral code? I make $80,000 a year, $20,000 more than what the average Minnesota makes, and I put my mortgage in forbearance this week because it's not sustainable. Mutual aid is not sustainable anymore.
Then there is this video where the physicians now are coming out and saying that this is a problem for healthcare. And this is a problem for all people's healthcare in Minnesota and elsewhere if they start doing this elsewhere. I think Minnesota is sort of the testing ground for all of these behaviors.
Well, thank you all for coming. It's 11:31. We'll get started. Thanks so much for being here. Very inspiring to see all these medical colleagues here speaking to this issue, coming down to the Capitol to express their fervent concern about what is happening in the state of Minnesota and how we care for our neighbors and how we care for our patients. My name is Matt Klein. I'm a state senator from Senate District 53. I represent the southern metro area, and I have for the last 9 years. I am a physician and internal medicine physician currently at Mayo Clinic, but for the bulk of my medical career at Hennepin County Medical Center. And let me say that in my capacity as a physician for the last 35 years, I have cared for numerous patients where there were legal and formal interactions with law enforcement, particularly at Hennepin County Medical Center, where our local law enforcement and our sheriff's deputies have a firm understanding when they have a patient in legal custody, when they have a patient from the jail or from the prison, they are able to bring that patient in full discretion and interact safely and with privacy with the medical staff and do it well. I've never heard a concern over 35 years of practice that a patient's rights were violated, that medical care was impeded, or that privacy was violated. And yet,
And see, what he's saying is that law enforcement, real law enforcement, does not behave this way. This is why we have protests. It's not because Democrats are anti-law enforcement. It's because law enforcement should be monitored, should have guardrails. It should have protections for the public. It should not be a free-for-all, do whatever you want in the name of law enforcement.
Yet we hear these stories now for the last couple of months here in the state of Minnesota that in our hospitals and in our clinics, patients are afraid to come in and seek care. When they do come in, ICE is pursuing them with or without legal means.
And I hear MAGA Online always saying that the Medicaid being utilized by migrants in the ER is costing us too much. What's the cost to us if we require documentation before care is given to an individual? This is like the abortion ban. You cannot put laws in place that bar physicians from treating in emergencies. You cannot, whether it's even in the intention of doing good. If you start putting limits, and they have to check with attorneys and see if it meets the legal standard or whatever state, federal standards, you delay care, and delaying care costs lives.
For that, and our medical staff feel intimidated and afraid to do the good work that they should do and impeded from doing that good
Like the nurse who said she's afraid to go outside, go to work, and nurses aren't showing up.
work. This is intolerable to us as practitioners, and I believe it's intolerable to the good people of Minnesota who know how medical care works in this state. This morning I learned for the first time through an NPR story that Renee Good still had a pulse 8 minutes after she was shot by an ICE agent. And yet the offer to administer aid from a physician on the scene following his Hippocratic oath was denied. I can't say how much that stirs the blood of everyone behind me here as we try to fulfill our obligation, our oath, and our duty to care for the people of Minnesota. And I believe it stirs the blood of every patriotic Minnesota.
And it's against the law. Cops aren't just supposed to shoot you and leave you for dead. It's against the law.
Who knows how we treat each other in this state. So that is what we are here to speak to today as healthcare professionals. We have representatives from pediatrics and emergency medicine, from the American Medical Association, from the chapter of gynecologists and family physicians, and I will turn it off now to Dr. Emily Wagner.
I'm not going to play the whole video, but I want you to see that that is what is happening. And it's a problem. I mean, it affects all of us. This is not just a migrant targeted thing. It will affect them too, but it affects all of us. So now I want to go on. Everybody knows about the story. You saw the 5-year-old Liam Ramos, who was used by ICE, taken to his front door to lure his father outside. He was taken by ICE along with his father. And even though his mother and his teenage brother were home at the time, Liam's father asked for asylum at a legal border at a point of entry, using the app that was allowed under the Biden administration. It doesn't matter that ability to use an app is gone. It doesn't make him illegal now that the administration has undone those legal pathways. It means that Liam's father was caught up in a political agenda that ignores the human element. This boy, scared and confused, was used as bait. He will remember what we did to him, what we did to his father. I showed a video yesterday that shows the ICE agent admitting to deporting legal and illegal migrants. And I don't know if it was a slip of the tongue, if it was a mistake, he didn't mean it, but it seems like it is how they are behaving. They are blanket questioning people of color, people with accents, and then detaining them, whereas they didn't know the person. They didn't have any idea before. And, I get MAGA. I talk to MAGA all the time because I am trying to understand where they're coming from. And they say things like, well, if they came in during Biden's term, you wouldn't know their names. And so you have to just ask everybody. No, you don't. It's against the law. It may be one way of doing things, but it's the wrong way. And as we're finding, the wrong way to do things causes lives lost in hospitals. It causes children to be mistreated. It causes people who asked properly how to enter the country and they were doing everything right, causes them to be swept up. It's just a bad way to do it. And it doesn't matter that it's under the umbrella of, or in the guise of law enforcement. If it's done wrong, it's not acceptable behavior from a government body who is supposed to do better, supposed to learn from mistakes of the past, and we've made many, and then do better in the future. This is what they're doing, and this is going to hurt American children also, because they are being asked if they have documentation when they are walking home from school. I've shown videos of that. They have passed a law that says that children over 12 can be felt up, physically searched, to see if they are being trafficked or in a gang. And those children will be traumatized. They will have lasting memories, like scars. This isn't law enforcement. 600 children, immigrant kids, were in federal shelters in 2025. And they were just getting ramped up. The lawyer for Liam and his father, Mark Prakash, say they came into the country the legal way, seeking asylum from their home country, Ecuador. So they did everything right when they came in. They used the app, they made an appointment, they came to the border and presented themselves to Customs and Border Patrol. They shared all of their information with the government, and they were following the process. They were just trying to secure safety from persecution for their family, from their home country. People don't want to come here. They'd rather be home, but they do because they have to. And so then when they're here, these types of people who do things the right way, they're of value to us. Their country's failures become a positive, a net positive for the United States. And this is the way we've done things, which is why we have such talent that ends up coming out of this country, invention and just the economic value. And then it just makes us a more well-rounded country. Prakash says Liam and his father are being held in an immigration detention facility for families in San Antonio, Texas. I just hope that Liam Ramos is safe where he's at, because detention centers have a long history, long before Trump, of abuse, sexual assaults, malnutrition, and unfortunately death. And during Trump's first year, 32 people died in detention. And many of them are being investigated still. The mysteries, people dying sometimes a day or 2 days or 2 weeks after being picked up. I mean, it's suspicious, it's fishy, and it's just wrong. It's just so wrong. Okay, so this is something I don't know much about. I'm trying to research how much it's being used, but there is a device called the wrap, and it is like a full body restraint. It puts a lot of pressure on a person's body, and if they have a heart condition or breathing issues, asthma, all kinds of different things, diabetes, all common diseases, this wrap could cost them their life. It could end a life very easily. And apparently Trump is using or has purchased more of these than we had previously had. So this is immigrant who is talking about the use of it on him.
Hands to when they broke my finger from here. From here, they broke my hand.
That bag Juan Antonio Pineda is referring to is the wrap, a restraint system used by law enforcement throughout the country.
The wrap is meant to stop a fight, to eliminate the strikes and blows, to make somebody sit comfortably, again, reasonably comfortable, right? It's not a comfortable situation.
That's not comfortable. To tighten it and make him bend at the waist.
But about a dozen people have told the Associated Press that immigration and customs enforcement officers had used it on them or their loved ones, simply for crying or verbally objecting to their deportation.
Because I think that there are mentally ill people that are wanting to work in immigration control. I feel like this is a pattern here where they are hiring a lot of really bad people, and there's a history. It's been in the news for decades that on the border people are sexually assaulted, killed in these weaponizing of vehicle incidents, and it's a pattern. So we have to follow all of these patterns, pay attention, and see things for what they are, instead of maybe a one-off story or this administration telling you something. You have to look further.
I wouldn't say that that's ICE's overall policy. I don't think that's, because if it was anybody's policy, I'd have a hard time working with that organization, right? Because that's not the purpose of the wrap.
So the company who makes it is saying that the reports that how ICE is using it, if that's true, then that is not how it was intended to be used.
In response to an AP query, Assistant Homeland Security Secretary Tricia McLaughlin wrote, "The use of restraints on detainees during deportation flights has been long-standing standard ICE protocol and an essential measure to ensure the safety and well-being of both detainees and the..."
Oh yeah, always. This Tricia McLaughlin is always saying it's for both people. It's not just the officer.
Officers, agents accompanying them. An internal watchdog report raised red flags, in part because of concerns about reports of deaths involving the use of the wrap by police. The AP has identified a dozen fatal cases in the last decade where local police or jailers around the United States...
What the fuck? This is not okay. I don't care why. This is wrong. This entire thing is wrong. This is a human being. What kind of sickos fight for a fetus who's never lived and yet do this to a human being?
States used the wrap, and autopsies determined that restraint had played a role in the death. But the makers of the wrap say there have been no deaths when deployed properly, and they made modifications for the device used by ICE.
We created a metal loop in the front so that persons can be handcuffed to the front. And I can sit here like this. It's almost like I'm folding my hands, listening to a speech, or watching something on TV.
Okay, guy. So you're talking about something you would do yourself because you want to, and for as long as you can. It's not the same thing that's happening to them. Once they're put in it, you think that ICE is letting them out periodically to stretch or whatever? No, they're going to put them in it and leave them there.
Pineda, the El Salvadoran man who said he was in the country legally, says ICE officers kept him in the wrap for over 16 hours during 2 round trips to the Mexican border.
Shocker. Fucking shocker.
He has since been deported to that country.
This is crimes I think war crimes, it falls into that category, even though we're not at war with these people. We're acting like it, and we are treating them inhumanely. Okay, so I'll move on to Social Security. We heard about the breach for a couple days now. Doge, apparently, not only did they have little pricks in there weaseling around in our data and doing whatever they want with it, probably stashing it somewhere, they also apparently sold it off to some political organization that said they would use our Social Security data to then compare to voting rolls.
So we've just learned that the Trump administration lied to us. They mishandled our most personal private data, and they did so at least in part to try to overturn election results. First, just a bit of background if you are just catching up. So last year, as we all know painfully well, Trump created the Department of Government Efficiency and put Elon Musk in charge of it. They said that as part of their, quote, waste, fraud, and abuse investigation, they needed access to Social Security Administration data. Now, because this was sneaky and suspicious from the get-go, a government employees union sued, saying that this was a massive privacy violation. Federal judge in Maryland agreed and issued a restraining order in March, blocking Doge from accessing people's personally identifiable information. Now, the Supreme Court, because they suck, later reversed that, but back
Suck is one word for it.
in March of last year, there was a court order saying stop. So the Social Security Administration told that judge at the time, as of March 24th, we have revoked all Doge team access to personal data. Basically, they're in compliance with your order. Now, 9 months later, the Justice Department just filed a correction saying, oops, yeah, about that, that's not true. Here's what they just confessed to in this filing, which you can read. First, they lied about when they stopped accessing data. The Social Security Administration told the court, quote, as of Monday, March 24th, we revoked all Doge team access, except that one Doge team member kept running searches on Social Security data until 9:30 that morning, after they had told the court they'd stop. Second, before the restraining order even happened, a Doge team member sent an encrypted file to Steve Davis, who was a senior advisor to Doge, containing the names and addresses of approximately 1,000 people from Social Security records. They copied him on an email to Homeland Security with this file attached. The Social Security Administration still can't access that file to see exactly what was in it. Third, and this is just totally insane, in March, a political advocacy group contacted two Doge team members asking for help analyzing state voter rolls. The group's stated goal was to, quote, find evidence of voter fraud and to overturn election results in certain states. One of these Doge employees, while working as a social...
And I swear this is what they're doing, is that they are, in a combination of ways, going to kick people off the voting rolls, lock people up that vote the way they don't want them to, and then they are also going to use all these bodies at actual polling booths to pick off the brown people who go to vote. So they don't care that in their immigration raids, where they're just blanket picking everybody up, they are willing to do that, even if it alienates people of color, because they're just going to finish off people of color when they go to vote in person.
Social Security Administration employee actually signed a voter data agreement with this political group on March 24th, the same day they were supposed to be cutting off data access. Social Security...
So do you see what happened there? They're telling the court that they're done. They're telling this advocacy group that they're just getting ramped up. Lying to the court is another pattern.
Administration says they had no idea this agreement existed until November. It was never reviewed or approved through proper channels. And the court filing says that emails suggest these Doge team members could have been asked to use Social Security data to match against voter rolls. They haven't found evidence the data was actually shared yet, but the fact that we are even having this conversation is insane. And this is why two Doge employees have been referred to the Office of Special Counsel for potential Hatch Act violations. The Hatch Act is the law that says you can't use your government job to engage in...
I was just saying that the Hatch Act violation is not strong enough language. It's not strong enough violation of the law. I don't know, maybe as a traitor?
Political activity, like, trying to help overturn election results. But wait, there's more. The filing also admits that Doge team members...
Hey, does that violate NSPM 7, being anti-American, trying to steal an election, and stealing Social Security information?
We're using Cloudflare, which is not an approved server for Social Security data, to...
Oh, good, she names it. So Cloudflare, that's the server, the third party. See, we're not even supposed to put Social Security Administration information on the internet, and they put it on a server, third party.
Share information with each other. This went on from March 7th to March 17th, and because Cloudflare is a third-party company, the Social Security Administration can't determine what data was shared on that server.
So Cloudshare could be sending, or Cloudflare, sorry, I'm saying the wrong word, could have sent it anywhere. Seriously, other governments could have purchased it from Cloudflare.
Or whether it still exists there today. This is some of the most sensitive personal data the federal government holds. Your Social Security information was uploaded to an unauthorized cloud server by Doge team members, and the government can't now tell you what they uploaded or whether it's still sitting out there somewhere.
And I bet they never will. They're not going to tell us. But you know what they will do is they'll probably say that there's more fraud in the administration, in the Social Security Administration, so that they can then shut the whole thing down. This story is ongoing, so we'll find out more, I'm sure. Okay, so then this is just stupid. It's so stupid. It's like I haven't even wanted to talk about it because I don't know where it's going. It just seems so dumb. But it's becoming a pattern, so I'm going to talk about it. Trump insults countries who defended us in the battlefield after 9/11. And so some countries, Prime Minister Keir Starmer is pissed off, rightfully so. And he's sharing photos of caskets, men and women in caskets after being killed fighting in Afghanistan alongside Americans, after Trump said NATO allies stayed back off the front lines. So he's just making things up and insulting the military like he has done from the beginning. And everybody said, no, that's not what he meant. And MAGA were making excuses and saying, well, John McCain, don't like John McCain, so it's okay that you're talking crap about John McCain. No, he's been talking crap about the military from the beginning. Do you remember the Gold Star father who came out and said that he is unfit? This man who is insulting other countries and they're helping us during war is also trying to annex all of the countries in our hemisphere, Latin American countries, and then north of us, Canada, completely crazy to be trying to annex countries, and then at the same time doesn't even know the country he's trying to annex.
At least 3 times referred to Greenland, a territory he wants to seize or purchase from Denmark. 3 times referred to Greenland as Iceland. When a reporter went on X and pointed this out, the White House press secretary, whose salary your tax dollars pay for,
Propagandist,
wrote, quote, "No, he didn't, Libby. His written remarks referred to Greenland as a piece of ice because that's what it is. You're the only one mixing anything up here." Okay, I mean, you know that was filmed, right? Let's roll the tape.
When I told them about Iceland, they loved me. They called me Daddy. Iceland, that I can tell you.
That's so gross. On top of him not knowing anything about geography. No one's calling you daddy, not even your own children.
Yeah. I mean, our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland. So Iceland's already cost us a lot of money.
This all reminds me of this great, horrifying quote from George Orwell's dystopian novel 1984, quote, "The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. But we don't live in 1984, and we don't have to reject the evidence of our eyes and ears. We know that he confused Iceland with Greenland." Or
confused. Yeah, that's the word we're going to use. So, not only is Keir Starmer rightfully ticked, but so is this mom, and I feel for her. This is awful. The US president dismissed the sacrifice of more than 400 Brits who served and died in Afghanistan. This mom, she lost her son, who was only 18. He made the vile insult as he continued to pressure NATO allies to grant him greater control over Greenland. Veterans and bereaved families of people who served in Afghanistan were left furious by the remarks made in a TV interview at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Lucy Aldridge, whose son William was the youngest Brit to die in Afghanistan, said Trump's remarks were extremely upsetting. "We live the trauma daily for the rest of our lives because of the contribution that our loved ones made, and they were absolutely on the front line." Rifleman William Aldridge died in a bomb blast in 2009, 47 days after his 18th birthday. And there he is. Trump can go to hell. This one is just funny, I guess. I don't know. It's telling about what the country is feeling. Greenland is feeling about us right now. Greenland Reddit moderator. So this is just an online social media thing, but still, this is what people are saying. Tells Americans to stop invading their community with apologies. So apparently, Americans are saying, I didn't vote for him. Don't blame me. I didn't do it. Do we do that when we talk about Russia? Do we do that when we talk about anywhere? Gaza, for instance, Palestinian people are being blamed for the radicals in their community, and which is a different thing, I realize, than Putin and Russia or any dictator. They are in control, obviously, and there was a systematic breakdown that led to their control of the country, and the people maybe at one point had a fight, a chance. As Americans, I don't hear that very often. When people talk about Russia, they don't talk about the people. They talk about what Putin's doing is Russia. So now we are in that same boat. What Trump is doing is America. It is all of us. He represents us. And they don't want to hear our excuses. This is his second time being elected. We knew what he was about the first time, most of us. So this moderator of Reddit, Greenland's community page, has begged American users to stop desperately trying to distance themselves from Donald Trump. In a scathing post on r/Greenland, the Reddit user Sapotis said, the page is getting at least 10 posts a day from Americans apologizing and saying things like they didn't vote for Trump or don't support his policies, rather than suggest that these long-suffering Americans have nothing to apologize for with regard to Trump's deranged demands to take over Greenland. The moderator gave a brutal assessment of how it reflects the U.S. across the globe. To us, your country is a single entity on the world stage, and it's threatening its allies. Think about how you view other countries. For example, Russian opposition doesn't change what Russia does because that's their domestic politics. The same thing applies to the U.S. too, except you had the power to choose your president. Sapotis suggested that instead of going to a Reddit page nonstop to apologize on behalf of your country for your constant need for sympathy, Americans should switch their focus to actually changing something while you still can. We will still have an election. It will be up to us to make it a real election, but it may be our last chance. And this person is saying, take it, stop apologizing. Okay, so this was a Minnesota Department of Corrections press brief, and I dictated what the gentleman, Paul Schnell, said, and so I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but I do want to talk about his point and an example that he gave. So the DHS is making shit up. Department of Homeland Security is just lying all the time, and this gentleman was very nice about it. He didn't say that, but he is talking about misinformation being spread publicly and the blame being cast onto Minnesota's governor and the Department of Corrections in general. He talks a lot about their process, in how they are separate, but how they all have a trigger. So when someone who is set for deportation but is first serving out a sentence within Minnesota, they are allowed to finish their sentence, and then upon release, whichever prison, whichever jail has them, then notifies ICE or DHS that the person will be released and you can come pick them up. And he says that that is a 100% fail-proof. They do a good job. They don't make mistakes. And yet DHS has been going out constantly blaming everybody in Minnesota, all leadership, because they're Democrats and they can, and it's fine for them to do that. They are blaming them for releasing these people into society, and they are in prison, they're in jail, so they are criminals. But they are saying that they're being released into the community, and then ICE is having to track them down. So two things could be happening. Either ICE is not paying attention, they get notification that a detainee is being released, and they're not going to pick them up, or much more nefarious, and this is what this gentleman was saying, is that on January 12th, the Department of Corrections coordinated with ICE to release 2 individuals who had detainers against them and were released into their custody. The names of these individuals are Meng Kong Yang and Joshua Fornell. When Mr. Yang and Mr. Fornell came into Department of Corrections, they let DHS know that they were at the prison. ICE was able to put detainers on both of them. As is the case for every single release where there is an ICE detainer in place, we contact them weeks before the individual reached the end of their prison term. We contacted ICE and let them know that we coordinated pickup arrangements with them. So on January 12th, and an ICE officer arrived at the prison. They loaded them all up, and at the time he played a video. Dedicated DOC staff helped the individuals leave. You can see them get into a truck. I watched the video. So then they're gone. January 13th, press release from DHS. with them insinuating that they were released individuals, released into the community, specifically saying they were illegal aliens arrested yesterday during Operation Metro Surge. So they're saying that they're denying the fact that the Department of Corrections transferred them. They didn't have to work for these two guys. They're saying that they did have to work for them, that they were released into the public or that they were in the community, and that the Department of Homeland Security had to track them down. And they didn't. How many times has this happened? How many times have they lied in just this way? And they're trying to throw under the bus anybody who's in politics, who's elected official, who they don't like. And so they are doing so many things here in their lies. They're doing blanket raids where they are detaining citizens and picking up less actual illegal migrants, and then the ones that they do get, they're getting from the prison and the jail there. So they're not actually working on that problem. They're just spending money collecting us who are protesting, and then lying about everybody. Okay, I'm going to talk about this just a minute. ICE agents are a mix of good and bad men and women, right? Just like any other body of people. And I've talked about not labeling all of them. Threatening a person, honking a horn, or blowing a whistle, they don't know that this act isn't an obvious federal crime, okay? These untrained, improperly trained ICE agents don't know all of the laws. They are being told by their supervisor or their senior that they are able to threaten and detain a citizen for yelling, for following, for recording. And they're not supposed to do those things, but they're being told they can. So this behavior of law enforcement on a citizen for made up crimes, if the agent says it is the person is impeding on their law enforcement operation, but that would require them to make an assumption about intent. And they aren't judge and jury. They're not supposed to be deciding why we're out there or what will come of it. They're just supposed to take us right there at our behavior out there in the street, just like we're supposed to take their behavior out there in the street. No presumptions. And yet they're being told that we're going to attack them, that we are dangerous, and they need to, and that we are trying to actually stop them physically from taking somebody. And while there may be some protesters that would do that, especially in the beginning of this whole thing, that's not the majority. Just like I don't believe that the majority that signed up for this new influx of ICE recruitments are bad people. I don't believe that. I do think that there are going to be lots of them, but it's not all. The bad agents who then draw a lethal weapon to threaten a citizen to stop the honking or the blowing or the yelling, that's the illegal act that's happening. Just because you are in law enforcement does not give you the right or the authority to threaten a life. No one can threaten a life legally. Obey or die is not in our Constitution. During Jack Smith's testimony, the January 6th Capitol Police were behind Jack Smith on his side, and while MAGA Representative Niels was blaming the officers for their own beatings, on January 6th, Michael Fanone was at the Capitol when it was attacked, and Michael Fanone has been very publicly clear about how he feels about Trump and MAGA and Congress, their part, the ones that did take part, in the big lie about January 6th. And so Ivan Reichlin, who was again there at the hearing, apparently he has made threats to rape Michael Fanone's children. So Michael Fanone, a former D.C. Metropolitan Police officer who defended the Capitol on January 6, 2021, and Ivan Reichlin, a conservative activist and conspiracy theorist who frequently appears on Capitol Hill to protest the outcome of the 2020 election, got into an altercation Thursday at a hearing featuring former special counsel Jack Smith. Video of the confrontation shows Fanone and Reichlin facing off during a short break in Smith's testimony as other former police officers in attendance tried to pull Fanone back. "See how many people are restraining you? And look at me, totally in control over my body and mind," Reichlin says to Fanone. Former Capitol Police officer who also served on January 6, Harry Dunn, tries to pull Fanone away, and a uniformed officer steps between the two. This guy has threatened my family, threatened my children, threatened to rape my children. You sick bastard, Fanone says, pointing at Reikland. In response to the clash, more Capitol Police officers were called to the hearing room to keep the peace, some of them whom spoke with Reikland. Short later, Reikland left the hearing room, though it's unclear if he was ordered to do so or if he left on his own accord. So here I want to play a video of a man who says you could be arrested, and he outright says that she's a terrorist, domestic terrorist. And it's almost like he's smirking, like he knows that she's not, but he's saying it outright because it gives them that apparent legal authority, which, you know, may not be legal authority, but until you can stop him, I guess it is. And so he's telling her outright.
It's not illegal to record.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, why are you taking my information down?
Because we have a nice little database.
Oh, good.
And now you're considered a domestic terrorist. So
We're videotaping you? Are you crazy?
So this is crazy, but it's par for the course for a toddler, little man. You know, him not getting the Peace Prize, he wasn't given it, and so he's been derogatory or insulting to the winner and the board who decided, and now Greenland, and it's like it's always something about this Peace Prize, and I don't know if it's because Obama got it, but something to it, and so he's trying to create his own board of peace and charging $1 billion to join it, whereas he would pocket that money similarly to how he's pocketed the money that came from the Venezuela takeover, coercion, and that money is being stashed in Qatar. And so that's why he invaded Venezuela, is why he did business with Qatar and got the plane, gifted the plane, and, you know, he's using accounts there to stash money from all these different ventures. So this is just another one. So he's going to do the Peace Board of Peace, and the resources from all these different countries, and working with oil companies to extract oil, and building in Gaza. It's like just so many different ventures for him personally. These are not going to help America make money. Do not be mistaken. But this is another pattern. So Trump has invited dozens of countries to join the board that seeks to resolve global conflicts, but its remit has alarmed several U.S. allies. So it's almost like he's trying to make another UN. As has the U.S. leaders comment that it might replace the United Nations. The board, indefinitely chaired by Trump, was originally conceived as a limited body tasked with overseeing the reconstruction of the Gaza Strip, which was devastated by Israel to their 2-year war. However, its purpose has since expanded to tackle conflicts the world over, and the charter's draft, which was sent along with the invitations to join, does not even reference Gaza. U.S. adversaries Russia and China, as well as longtime representative state Belarus, are among those invited to join the board. So you know what it's made of and how bullshit it is, which is offering permanent seats for $1 billion. European allies, oil-rich Arab states, and the Persian Gulf former Soviet republics, and even the Pope have also received invitations to join. A signing ceremony on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in the Swiss resort of Davos was attended by fewer than 20 countries, mostly from the Middle East, Asia, and South America, far fewer than the roughly 35 that a senior administration official predicted to reporters earlier this week. European leaders were visibly absent. The only Western European nation represented was Hungary, one of Russia's closest allies in Europe and Trump's buddy. So Trump had initially floated the Board of Peace as part of the second phase of the U.S. brokered 20-point Gaza ceasefire plan in September. The United Nations Security Council backed the plan in November, giving it international legitimacy with a mandate for the board to oversee the demilitarization and rebuilding of Gaza. But Trump had longer-term plans. A charter draft obtained by CNN describes the Board of Peace as an international organization promoting stability, peace, and governance in areas affected or threatened by conflict. Trump will serve as chairman of the board indefinitely. So after he's out of office, he will continue to make $1 billion on this. So people kept saying, you know, Trump made other countries pay more in NATO and contribute more and whatever. But even though they were small countries and they were already contributing a large share for their in their economic ability to, ours was a bigger economic ability to, so we paid more. That's just the way it should work, right? But he made people pay more. A lot of people were saying that was good, and maybe it was, and maybe that's the right thing. I don't know. He's trying to change the global order where allies that were against authoritarian regimes will be on one side, and I guess will be on the other that likes authoritarians. He wants the cool people to come to the table, the cool kids, you know, it's like entertainers and how he rips off music and all. Okay, it's all off subject, but the point is that he likes them. He wants them at the table, and yet he's fundamentally going against what they believe in. Europe's telling him, fuck off. So this story kind of ticks me off. Sheriff had come out and said that lots of different officers are being stopped, and that the obvious connection is that they are all people of color. This is happening here now too in Maine. So Portland, Maine. County Sheriff calls out ICE for how it detained recruit. Sheriff in Cumberland County held a news conference Thursday afternoon to address the detainment of a corrections recruit by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and criticize the agency's tactics. We're being told one story, which is totally different than what's occurring. And what occurred last night, he said. Sheriff Kevin Joyce confirmed that ICE arrested a corrections recruit with the Cumberland County Jail on Wednesday. The man, whose name has not been released, was pulled over by agents just after 5 p.m. in Portland's Bayside neighborhood. Video obtained by Maine's total coverage shows the arrest. The man can be heard shouting, "I'm a corrections officer. I work in Cumberland County. What's wrong?" as he was placed in handcuffs. Joyce said the recruit was hired in February 2025 after undergoing a rigorous hiring process. The sheriff also said the recruit's I-9 suggested that he was able to work in the United States until April 2029. In this particular case, this is an individual that had permission to be working in the state of Maine. We vetted him. Every indication we found is that this was a squeaky clean individual. Okay, so the bottom line is that they are detaining people of color. It doesn't matter who they are doing that because they are racist pigs. And they will continue to do it because they don't care about right. They just don't care. They are traumatizing children. They are blanket detaining anybody of color. They are lying about politicians, Department of Corrections. They are lying about migrants. They are invading schools, hospitals. And Congress is broken. Completely and utterly broken. 7 Democrats voted to fund ICE. This influx of ICE money, they voted yes to do so. Even after all of these reports, all of these videos, all of this evidence.
Call the cops! Call the cops after 9/11! Yeah, call the cops! Yeah, call the cops! 9/11, record! Keep recording! Wasn't doing anything wrong! I was standing here, and I told the lady she wasn't doing anything wrong. She doesn't have to get off the car. So, yeah, no, I don't need to. Who the fuck is? I'm not going anywhere. I'm not.
This is right. She's not being violent towards them. She's just speaking out, telling what the law is and what people should be doing and what people shouldn't be doing. And she is being very clear that she has not done anything wrong and that she does not want to go with them.
Call the cops. Call the cops. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to. No, you don't have to move. They're intimidating you. They can't do nothing because they're standing there. I'm waiting for the cops. They're kidnapping me. Call the cops. Hector, you're on Hard Road. You're on Hard Road, and what street is this? What street is this? Hard Road and Emerald Parkway. Emerald Parkway. You're not taking me anywhere, man. You're not taking me anywhere. Take me. Come on.
Good girl. You make them work. Much harder to carry dead weight that's laying on the ground. Good job.
Take me.
You're making this hard.
Take me. Take me. Take me. Take me. Take me. Take me. Take me.
That's right there.
Take me. Take me. Take me. You know.
These stupid fucks, they don't even want to pick her up. So they're like, okay, she just made this too hard. Don't want to do it now. Yeah, they want to steal women off the streets, but little work? Nah, forget it.
You're doing everything illegal. Why are you kicking me? She's kicking me. Record her. She's kicking me. Why are you kicking me? I'm a U.S. citizen. I know my fucking constitutional rights. Why are you kicking me? Take me. You're kicking me, right? Honey, you're it. Head up on 9/11. They are doing the stuff that's... Don't touch me. Did I do anything illegal? No, I said do not touch me. Everybody, record. This is how we live in America. Get off the shit out of my hood. You're the one touching me. I'm not even touching you. You're the one touching me. You are the one touching me. Don't never fucking touch me. Did I break the law? Or are you going to arrest me?
Don't fucking touch me. That's right.
They must be detained.
Exactly. Am I being detained? You ask them that. You ask them. Am I being arrested? Am I being detained? Look at this fat ass. That fat ass was kicking her. That fat ass guy right there. He was kicking her in the back.
We can say, we can scream. I can even tell you, fuck you.
You just did.
And fuck you. Long life you have to. And we got our rights. We got our rights. That's the difference. We got our rights. I'm the recorder. She's pulling me. She's touching me. She's detaining me unlawfully. Call the cops. Hey, call 911. Call 911. Call the cops. Call the cops. Call the cops. Sir, if you don't shut the fuck up, you're not gonna this is my country. I'm a U.S. citizen. My country. Record that. That's how the record that is call 911. Call 911, you guys. Please call 911. Call 911. They're detaining me unlawfully. Now wait. Now wait. Call 911, you guys. Call 911. I'm a U.S. citizen. I don't need to calm down. Just sit here.
I want to know what happened to her.
Switzerland the other day that if it wasn't for us, they'd all be speaking German. He's right. And they do. Because the Swiss have been speaking German for about 1,000 fucking years. You dumb fuck. You fucking moron. You're embarrassment. You're like a fucking... Oh my God, who lets them get up there and say this shit? This is fucking embarrassing. It's an embarrassment to our fucking country. It's such an embarrassment to have that fucking orange bloated sack of shit, pedophile, rapist, racist con man, fucking fraud up there saying this. You'd all be speaking German if it wasn't for... Yeah, they do, you stupid fuck. They've been speaking it for 1,000 fucking years.
I love his energy. Oh, this one's good.
Look at this vehicle. Look at what it says. It says F ICE. You have these individuals who are putting their middle finger, proudly so, at the camera. People don't do this without encouragement from people in power who make them feel like it's okay.
Yeah, you're the encouragement. You're the people in power that are encouraging us to do that.
Interesting. Now, let me add a little something to this.
People don't do this without encouragement from people in power who make them feel like it's okay.
I like his spin. I like that he's saying that because it definitely was encouraged to attack the Capitol. But also, it's like she wrote her own meme. It's just so stupid that she doesn't understand that, yes, people in power do drive people into the streets to flip off cops. Yep. Anyway, that's it for today. I was just wanting to share a little bit about what's going on. It's been going on for the last day. One day news cycles full of so much information. Can't cover it all. Be safe out there.